Hello, listeners, and welcome to the first episode of Expecto Podcastium. We are really excited. My name is Erica. I'm one of your hosts.
My name is Mega. I'm another host.
I'm Jess, and I'm your last host.
We are really excited about this new Harry Potter themed podcast that we're doing. We're all kind of new to this, so we're gonna learn as we go, and we're excited to see where this new adventure takes us. So we're just gonna start by just kind of telling you how we got into Harry Potter.
I got into Harry Potter when I was really little. I can barely remember it, but it was kind of the book that got me into reading a lot more, maybe around 5 or 6 years old. And from then on, I've been a huge Potterhead. I gobbled up all the books. I love the movies. Not as much as the books, obviously. I saw myself in so many of the characters. I learned so much from the stories. I've met so many amazing people through my love of Harry Potter, including these two lovely ladies.
Yeah, I am pretty late to the game. I only got into it when I was about 17 or something, and I started reading them because the last Harry Potter movie had come out, and I was like, this can't be it. And I hate reading. And eventually my sister was just like, just read the books. And I succumbed and I read the books, and I've been obsessed ever since. And all my books got confiscated in school because I couldn't stop reading them in class.
I am a late bloomer here. So I'm actually 23, but I only read the books. I started reading the books when I was 21. When I was a kid, I never really was into reading that much. So I just didn't really read them. And then, I have a lot of friends who have read them, and they were always making these references, and I was just like, I should really do that. I had been saying, I should read those for a while, and I always thought like, I'm too old now, but it's like, I'm never too old to read a book. Who knows? And so like, it was literally a last minute decision. It was like, I don't know, 8 p.m. and the library closed at 9 p.m. and it was like down the street. So I just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I walked down the street and came home with Philosopher's Stone. And then my entire life changed in the following months. I fell in love with the books and the characters and everything about it. And I started, being involved in the community online, and just everyone, it changed my life. And I fell in love with the amazing person, or fictional person, that is Ron Weasley. There's going to be a lot of Ron loving in this, just so you guys know. We love Ron Weasley here.
Yes, we do.
Ron is definitely my favorite character. I relate to him a lot, and I really love his character growth. A lot of stuff about him, I love him. He's just amazing. And favorite, what do you guys love about characters? That was such a weird way of asking. Let's talk about your favorite characters now.
Well, I also very much like Ron. I think my favorite character is definitely Ron and Ginny. I love how Ron grew from this almost overshadowed character to like one of the main support systems of Harry, and like the super important character that like worked, that was a huge reason why they won the war. And then Ginny, well, one, she is a sassy queen. I relate so much being the youngest child in a big family. The way she interacts with Harry and calls him out when he is being overdramatic and angsty, that's amazing.
Ginny's sass is the best.
Huh?
Ginny's sass is just amazing.
Oh yeah.
Also, sassy Harry in the books is the
Sassy
best.
Harry. Oh, Sassy Harry's the best. I love Sassy Harry.
Those two are a great couple.
Yeah, just throwing shade all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine how sassy their kids are? Just imagine what a nightmare it is for any babysitter to look after those kids when they were like young. just the sass that they would get.
I always imagine James Sirius as just like a constant, like, I always headcanon him as being like super cocky, but like also a sweetheart, you know? Kind of
I
like
imagine him to be exactly like James Potter.
Yeah, I've always felt that too. But like he also has this like super sweet side that's a little more than what we've seen of James Potter, because we don't really know James Potter at all through canon, at least.
I wish we got more of the Marauders era. Like all those characters are so interesting.
Well, I mean, half of the fan fiction out there is about them.
That's true.
Oh yeah, we are also big fan fiction people, so just a heads up.
Yeah,
there.
I don't
like fan fiction.
Else but fan fiction. My favorite character also again is Ron. Sorry about like the lack of diversity of favorite characters, but definitely Ron for the same reasons that both of you just mentioned. He's just such a sweetheart, and again, I also relate to him. I have super low self-confidence, and I love how he was able to like kind of overcome that as like a character over the 7 years, and I like really admire how much he grew. I don't know what else to say, because both of you have kind of summed up exactly what I wanted to say.
Characters are always like for me with fiction in general, whether that be like books or movies or TV, the thing that draws me into a story is the characters. For me personally, like if I don't have a character that I really like or connect with, I cannot get into it. Ron was just kind of the first one that I felt myself just kind of loving. And another character that I found, like, at least when I was reading Philosopher's Stone, that just kind of drew me to the story was Hagrid. Hagrid just is the best thing ever. Like he defies I love how he defies gender norms by being this like emotional, like he calls himself a mummy to warn. And it's like Hagrid is just such a well-written character. I just want to give him like a huge hug because he's like this huge, scary-looking guy, but he's just like a softy marshmallow. So I just want to like
teddy bear. He's a literal giant teddy bear.
Exactly. He's a giant teddy bear, and that's what makes him so amazing. Other characters that I love are a lot of the kind of like not mistreated, but kind of
the underdog characters.
The underdog. I'm a killer for the underdog. Like I love Neville. Like I'm serious. If I had a Neville that I went to school with, I would have a crush on him. Like before he became his like the Snake Slayer guy, I would have a crush on him because
the Snake Slayer guy.
I don't know. That was a really weird way of saying it, but he did slay a snake. So like we'll talk lots and lots about Neville in the coming episodes, or eventually when we get to his moments. But Neville is just like, I don't understand anyone who could dislike Neville, just because his whole character is just like this poor guy with terrible luck, and then he comes out the end with just like this like awesome. Neville's just the best. I love Neville. I think his like Ron has a good character arc, but Neville has such an amazing character arc of like it slowly happens and then it all of a sudden hits you in Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, definitely, completely, because he had to he became like Harry was in the fifth book. He became like the leader or a protector for the students in the Deathly Hallows.
Yeah, definitely.
I love the parallels that J.K. Rowling drew between Harry and Neville. I mean, like, they're really obvious. Of course, either one could have been the boy who lived. But then also the fact that, like, they came from maybe not the most loving and supportive families. And, like, they had tragedy with their parents. And they both were kind of, like, shy-ish in the beginning. And a little, like, underdoggy, beaten down. And they both grew into such great leaders.
Definitely.
Neville's just one of those characters where it's just like You just want to hug him again as well.
He's such a sweetheart. He's such a sweetheart, and he's so kind and so like giving.
Totally. Definitely. I totally agree there.
I mean, I totally am supportive of the people who ship Neville and Luna together, because I think they'd be such a good couple.
They'd be adorable.
Luna is so odd, but she's so sweet and super smart, and Neville is just so accepting of like everyone, and he would just celebrate her weirdness. And
as parents together, that would be beautiful.
They'd be such sweet parents. Their kids would be such weirdos, but they'd be the best kind of weirdos.
Weirdos are better than normal people, in my opinion. I've always weirdo and misfit, and I like other weirdo and misfits. Like I can't be friends with cool people, if that makes sense. They don't
me too.
But I'm okay, because I don't like I just kind of like people who don't judge me and just kind of like I can be myself with, because and I find that's with mostly everyone in the Harry Potter like fandom, just because we all just seem kind of strange, and especially us adults who still like Harry Potter. Because there's so many people's like, you're a Harry Potter fan and you're like in your 20s, what? And I'm like, yeah, I am. It's like,
yeah. Erica, you went from like thinking, am I too old to like read this series, to like, bitch, I am never too old to read this series.
Exactly.
I'm gonna be reading this to my kids someday.
Exactly, right?
I am going to read like all of the books to my kids one day every Christmas, and then we are going to watch the movies maybe.
Well, my kids will not touch the movies until they've read the books. That's
yeah, totally.
I had the negative experience of, well, not negative experience. Like I watched the movies before I read the books, and it's like, that's not bad. Like watching the movies was kind of what kind of pushed me to read the books, which is good. But reading the books just made me realize how the movies were a disappointment, because the issue with the Harry Potter movies is that they're not bad movies. They're well-made movies. They're beautiful. Most special effects are really good. Acting, music is really great, but when you put them and compare them to the books, they don't live up to that.
Yeah.
And one person in particular that I want to Steve Close, who was
we'll get to
who I'm pretty sure doesn't know how to read properly, and turned my beautiful king into this sidekick jokester, stupid head.
I agree.
We don't like Steve Close on this podcast, just so you guys know. Steve Close, for anyone who doesn't know, he was the screenwriter for 7 out of the 8 movies, and a lot of diehard book fans aren't a huge fan of him because of how he messed up quite a few of the characters. And that's the problem with him, is I find he plays favorites with the characters that he gets. So.
And even with the characters he plays favorites with, like, I think we can probably discuss this later too, but like, I think the most well-known thing is people say that he destroyed Ron's character in favor of propping up Hermione's, but also he didn't, like, he hurt Hermione's characterization too.
Yeah.
Like, I like Hermione in the books better than I like her in the movies, because I relate to her so much more in the books.
Same.
When I was younger and I first read Harry Potter, Hermione and Ginny were my 2 favorite characters, because they were the girls who were awesome and kicked ass and like.
But had their flaws.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, had their vulnerabilities.
Also, like, even, like, let's put aside the way, like, they destroyed, like, Ron and Jerry, and Ginny's character in particular. But, like,
Ron and Jerry. Ron and Jerry. No, I'm gonna think of that every time I have ice cream.
But, like, even if you didn't ruin those characters, there's no way that they would have been able to put like the details that was written into the book. They wouldn't have been able to fit all of that into the movies anyway. Like, they keep joking around about saying like how they wish they'd made, or how we wish they'd made each book like a series, like not a series, a season of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
And that would be amazing if they did that.
Yeah. The movies are always controversial because it's, like I said, they are good movies. They're fun to watch, but the issue when you sit down and watch them is when they take your favorite character or they completely remove some of your favorite moments, it's hard to enjoy it, you know? Like if they were just movies not based off books, then I'd love them. And like I still do watch them and I enjoy them, but there's some of them which like for example, the ones that really frustrate me is specifically Deathly Hallows Part 1 because they literally took every single one of my favorite moments from that and threw it in the trash. Not even kidding. Every single one of my favorite parts from that part of the book is gone. But we'll get into that. I don't want to get into our rant about that. You know, one thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna do kind of like a book discussion episode. So like basically, depending on what's in the chapter, we'll do like kind of chapter by chapter roundtables per book, and then after we finish a book, we'll do like a movie book comparison discussion that may or may not, depending on the movie, involve some swearing by me and other people. I might swear a little bit. So yeah, if you're like under 18, maybe don't listen to this.
Yeah, I agree. I will probably swear a little bit as well.
But we have strong opinions.
Yes. I won't. We're not. I'm more just. My swearing will just be frustration about some of the things. But my favorite book, though, well, my two favorite books, and my first favorite is Deathly Hallows, which is not a surprising thing to most people. Deathly Hallows is a lot of people's favorite. But my second favorite, which surprises a lot of people actually, is Order of the Phoenix. And I know a lot of people don't like Order of the Phoenix. Not that they don't like it, more just it's favorite. And a lot of people are like, oh, it's too long, but it's like, you know, if I was lucky enough to read these books as they were coming out, and like I understand that there was the largest gap between Order of the Phoenix and Goblet of Fire, mainly because Order of Phoenix was so long. But if I was reading these books as they were coming out and I found out that this book was 800 pages, I'd be like, oh my god, yes. But and like a lot of people, my response to it is like, you know, a lot of people say like, oh, Harry is always complaining, but it's like, you know, I don't know about you, but I was a disaster when I was 15. And I can't imagine being 15 and having this like mass murderer evil dude trying to kill you. That would be even worse, you know?
Yeah,
and
just like
crazy
just everyday stuff that every teen has to worry about.
And this crazy bitch trying to take away everything you love too just kind of doesn't make that any better. But the reasons why I love it is because we get to see raw Harry and like sassy Harry. There's a lot of sass from Harry during this one. But also just in general, there's so many different emotions that comes along with this book of just like laughing at the disaster of Harry trying to date. And then also Ron's, a lot of people don't talk about Ron's vulnerabilities, but in Order of the Phoenix, but Order of the Phoenix was like one of his worst years because of the whole Weasley's our king situation. Like I could talk about, we could do an entire chapter, like an entire discussion on just that. Like we'll probably go deep into that chapter when we get to Order of the Phoenix, but Ron going through that was just, it really, it hit me on a personal level, and you know, his self-esteem really took was essentially annihilated in that book, which, you know, is grounds for what happened in Half-Blood Prince. But just, I found myself, like, I remember once I finished all the books, I sat down, I was like, which ones are my favorite? And the way I kind of figured it out was which ones do I, like, obviously I remember reading all of them, but which ones do I remember specifically sitting down and reading and just, like, loving on, like, well, like, I'm wording this wrong, but Order of the Phoenix just stood out because I found myself just really loving it. And it was, I read Order of the Phoenix, like, I'm generally a slow reader, but I read Order of the Phoenix, which is 800 pages, in, like, 4 weeks, I think, which is actually pretty impressive for me. And Deathly Hallows, to be fair, Deathly Hallows, I mean it was Deathly Hallows, so I read it in 6 days, and the last third of it I read in 10 hours. It was like, I don't know, I think it was 10 p.m. and I just finished the part where they broke out of Green Gods, and I'm just like, how can I go to sleep after that? How is sleep a thing when I just read that chapter? Like, that's not something I can do. So I stayed up until 6 a.m. and finished it, and I was, oh my god. Deathly Hallows, I was just a crying, smiling, dancing mess. But back to Order of the Phoenix, just Order of the Phoenix just always stood out to me because it was just such an so many, you get every single emotion in that book. Just there's so many things that happen, like big things that happen. Yeah. Like, the ending is like heartbreaking, but it's also like, it's like a turning point, and like every book is a turning point, but that's why Order of the Phoenix always stands out, and Deathly Hallows, just everything. Just everything from Deathly Hallows. There's not one part of the book that I wish wasn't in the book. Not one part.
Yeah, I also agree with that. Full-heartedly, I completely agree.
With which part?
All of it.
Oh, okay.
Two favorites are also Order of the Phoenix and Deathly Hallows.
Mm.
Yeah.
What are your?
I think, yeah, because Order of the Phoenix, it had so much like fundamental like information, and it was also quite a big like turning point, quite like a big book where like a lot of the characters were like where they matured a lot, and like I know it became like darker in like season
yes.
in the fourth book, but like especially in the fifth book, it did kind of get like a bit darker and a bit more like sinister. We really kind of saw characters for who they were, and we explored for the first time basically the places outside of Hogwarts, and that was really exciting.
Luna too.
And Luna. No, but Luna was in the fourth book.
No.
Wasn't she?
No, she was introduced in Order of the Phoenix.
Okay.
You know who else was introduced in Order of the Phoenix? Umbridge. Yeah.
Umbridge, I think, is one of those characters where it's like you don't even have to ask anyone. She's just kind of a universally hated. The thing is with Umbridge is like there's a lot of characters where, there's characters that you like love them or hate them. Like for example, like Draco Malfoy, like some people hate him, some people love him. But Umbridge is one of those characters where it's like it is impossible to love her. Like if you do, that's okay. But I hope you're okay. But
wow.
Sorry guys, if you like her, I don't think you are okay. There has to be something fundamentally wrong with you, because why?
Umbridge is one of those.
If you like her, please explain why. Like a good detailed explanation of why you like her, because I cannot fathom any reason why you would like her.
And
she's fun to hate and fun to make fun of. So
and we're talking about like liking her, like her personality, her character. We're not talking about like I am ready to admit that Umbridge is an amazing character. Like,
yes,
kudos to J.K. Rowling for creating such an amazing character that is hated by fans more than the actual villain of the series.
So true.
Umbridge is an amazingly crafted character. She's just horrible.
Yeah, she
just has like this thing about her, like she's like one of the most like evil kinds of like people, because her evil.
I feel like evil's the wrong. More just like cruel and just like the thing is she doesn't think she's evil. She's not like Voldemort where he's like, oh, I'm evil, I'm gonna kill you. But she's like she's one of those people where it's just like she thinks that she's doing good, so it's just like she's just a bitch.
I was gonna compare her to a politician, but I don't think we should bring politics into this.
Well, okay. That'll open a whole can of worms.
Harry Potter politics, but no. Let's not get into politics.
The way I kind of see Umbridge versus Voldemort is that like Voldemort's kind of this like overarching like eye over the whole novel. He's there. He like appears in every book basically. He's like this overarching big scary villain. But he kind of like his focus is so much on like ruling over Wizarding Britain and like these more like political fights and like things that almost go over people's heads and seem very distant. Umbridge is close because I feel like with Umbridge, every person knows somebody like her who is so normally evil, just cruel. The cruel teacher, like the bully in your school, like everybody knows someone who's like Umbridge. Well, Voldemort's kind of like this fantastical creature, you know, like how often do you know someone who's like a magical dictator who wants to take over the world and kill a bajillion people? Like, that's super realistic.
I don't really know too many of these people.
Yeah. Strangely enough, neither do I.
I feel like everyone has known a version of Umbridge to a certain degree in their life at some point.
Also, speaking of like crappy characters, but like I think we all know an Aunt Muriel as well. I think we all have an Aunt Muriel.
Yeah. In my case, Aunt Muriel. I mean, I have a misogynistic uncle, but I feel like everyone has one of those. Like a misogynistic uncle, probably some kind of family person like that. Like one of those family members where it's like sometimes you don't want to be around them, but like if they died or got hurt, you would like be worried about them, kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yeah.
You know what's another villain that's fun? Like, not a fun villain, but my favorite, like, bad person is Bellatrix. Because, like, I don't at all like Bellatrix. Like, I don't want to be her friend or something. But she's so, like, fantastically evil and just, like, she's crazy and she just loves it. Like, she just owns the fact that she's, like, this evil, like, crazy person. And it's just, she's fun. She's a fun person to be evil. That sounds weird, but like
she rebels in her insanity.
Yeah, that's oh my god.
No, she's like properly insane. She should be checked into an asylum.
And insane. Like Helena Bonham Carter, like damn, she did.
Oh my god, yes.
It's sometimes difficult for me to see her in other roles, but you know.
Yeah.
Her wardrobe. The thing is, her wardrobe was so specific in that, so it's easy to like not like it. She was great as Bellatrix, but Bellatrix is just like she's crazy and I hate her. But she's one of those fun to hate characters.
Mm-hmm.
But see, Harry Potter has so many great characters. You know, like there's such a wide variety of characters you can like love, you can hate, you can debate about. You know.
One
character is great.
One character like people have been debating forever is like Snape, for example. People debate Snape. That rhymed. Debate Snape. People can talk about
rhyme though. I don't think it really did rhyme.
No.
Debate
Snape. I don't know if I was writing a song like, I'm not gonna start singing because you will all leave our podcast if I start singing, so I'm not gonna do that. But Snape is always an interesting discussion because there's so many sides of him. He's a very complex character, and like, you know, you can hate him, but you all can also have different opinions on him while hating him. You know.
Yeah. Along with that controversial opinions on characters, I think Dumbledore has creeped his way into there.
Yeah, he has.
Yes, he has. You're right.
He's become very controversial in these last few years, and
the thing with Dumbledore too is like because of the Fantastic Beasts films, the conversations about him can continue because there's still more we're learning about him. So.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons I love this fandom so much is because the books and the movies even have been finished for like a decade? Like it's been a while since there was like the original content. Yeah. And like there are people who don't accept Fantastic Beasts as canon, people who don't accept like Chris Chell as canon and stuff like that. But like the fandom keeps on poking and prodding and like learning things and revisiting these characters and like creating headcanons. And it's like the fandom keeps on evolving and like growing, and it's beautiful.
It is. It's beautiful. Like our fandom, like fan fiction in general is like there's so much fan fiction. Like I think that Harry Potter is the most fan fiction out there of any other fandom, maybe tied with other stuff. But like I gotta give props to all of us. We are some creative people, and you know, like fan fiction and things like fan art as well has, you know, taken a whole new avenue. And you know, one thing with fan fiction that's also really great is it can help people explore like non-canon relationships or people or aspects of like alternate universes. And like, you know, I can disagree or agree with what you want to create, but I can still like, if I respect your creativity and like how much time and effort it takes. Like that's it's so impressive. Like I'm so impressed with Potterheads in general, just like diehard fans.
We love you all, Potterheads.
Yes, Potterheads unite.
I love how even though we all kind of have different opinions on characters and relationships within the series, we will all come together like against like the haters, you know.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a really cool thing, and I think in a few ways, like even though again it's a book for children, like we are like the fans, or let's say some of them are quite mature in their thinking.
Yeah, one thing with the book for children thing is these books came out like 20 years ago, or like you know 15 20 years ago. So it's like all of the people that were reading those books as kids when they were coming out are adults now. So that stuck with them, you know? So even me, as someone who read them much later in life than most people do, I like it because I find other friends my age that are still into it, you know? So it's that balance there of like, I think one of the reasons why there's so many adults that really love it still is because us adults, when they were coming out, we were kids.
I think another difference is, maybe I'm sure Erica you find this as well, but I think because I read the books when I was a lot older than most, I took a lot of the information in as like an older, more mature person, and so I took it in like maybe slightly differently than young kids would.
Yeah, you notice different things.
I think we noticed, or I noticed at least, different things, and sorry.
There are so many like innuendos in there. Like, I don't want to get into it, but there are a lot of innuendos in there that you will only notice when you read it as an adult.
Yeah. I mean, we can get into that in like a little R-rated podcast.
It's a special R-rated episode, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of be looking forward to that.
We can laugh about them. That's what we can do, is when those things come up, we can just kind of laugh about it as we're doing our chapter by chapter discussions.
Like hardy har. J.K. Rowling, you're so hilarious.
That's one of the other things, is just like all these things where we can just like, the humor in Harry Potter is, I think it's actually written really well, because it's like there's some humor where you just kind of want to roll your eyes, but there's some humor where you're just kind of like some Harry moments where he's just like, oh, Harry, why did you do that? No.
Yeah.
One moment that comes into my head was when Cho is talking about Valentine's Day and just kind of giving him all the hints there, like, ask me out. And he's just like, oh, that's cool that's happening. Nice to know. And then I can't remember exactly what happens, but Hermione's just like, oh my God, did you really just do that? Like,
I'm so glad that like she wrote him like how
clueless, exactly how a
15-year-old. Yes, it's so good. Yeah. He's 15 or what, 14. Of course he's gonna be clueless. He's a 14-year-old boy, and I'm really glad that J.K. Rowling wrote him like kind of a realistic, clueless like teenage boy. I mean, we always refer to him.
He's
No,
he's
but like you know
clueless.
what I mean.
He's
Yeah.
clueless.
Like we call him like Harry Oblivious Potter because I mean, I don't really need to explain why.
Harry is brilliant though. Like I think anyone who defeats this like crazy murderer evil dude is brilliant, but he is brilliant, but he has she's able to have the seriousness of what he's going through, but also include like normal teenager things like, you know, not knowing when a girl wants you to ask her out, you know, not understanding when Hermione starts randomly crying for no reason. It's always funny when she just starts crying and Ron and Harry are like, why are you crying? Like when they make up in Goblet of Fire and she's just like, you're so, I can't remember exactly what she says, but, and then she just starts bursting into tears and Ron and Harry just look at each other. I think Harry says like, why are you crying? And then it's just like, even I have those moments of just like, why is Hermione randomly crying?
Yeah. It's like I feel like so many like it would be so easy for J.K. Rowling to have been like, okay, this is they're kids, but they're kids growing up in a war, so they don't have time for these like frivolous things. But like she was able to dually have like that coming of age story along with like this fantastical, there's a war, there's magic, it's we.
Yeah,
But also it was a coming of age story.
Exactly. That's what's so great about this is there's so many things to talk about, and there's, you know, 7 books is a lot of books. It's over 1 million words too, so it's always I love discussing it, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, I wanted to start this, and I'm really excited to see where this takes us all.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are as well, because it's a new thing, and then we're learning, and we'll definitely evolve as we go, but we're all really excited about this. We're going to start by reading the first 5 chapters of, well, we're not going to be reading them on the podcast, but we're going to do a round table discussing the first 5 chapters of Philosopher's Stone. So if you guys want to like read along with us, and then, you know, we'll just kind of discuss different things that happened, and I think we're going to kind of slowly go through each book, and, you know, depending on what happens in the chapter, we'll have specific like chapters that we'll discuss per episode. And yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really, really excited about all of this. It's going to be really great.
I think hopefully we'll be able to do 1 episode every week or so, if possible. But we'll also get back to you about that in our first podcast, where we talk about the first 5 chapters.
Yeah. And if it wasn't already evident by this episode in our conversation, since we read all the books, there's going to be some spoilers. There's going to be some pretty major spoilers.
If you haven't read the books and you want to join in on this, then read the books.
Yeah. Like honestly, we're even if we're going to be talking about the first 5 chapters of Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, wherever you're from, we're going to be referencing things later, probably, like almost definitely. We're going to be talking about major things, so like don't let us ruin the books for you. This is an amazing series. Don't let us ruin it.
And I think also, just while we're kind of talking about what's going to happen, or sorry, no, that was a bad segue, but I just wanted to let you guys know us slightly better. So for example, I'll start. My name is Jess. I am 25 and I live in South Africa. So if you guys are confused about my accent, now you know why.
I think we all universally agree that Jess has a beautiful, beautiful voice. Like I love listening to you talk all the time, Jess.
So sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks. Mega, where are you from?
Well, I am from the United States, from the East Coast of the United States. I'm Mega, as I mentioned before, and I am 19, so I'm the baby of this family.
Oh, such a baby.
I am from the North, Strong and Free, so I live in Canada on the West Coast. I'm 23, so I'm the middle child here. we're all super excited about this. I was kind of the one that kind of got the idea, and then they joined in, but we're all super stoked for this, and we'll probably like throughout we'll probably have some like guest hosts who are going to join in for specific things. That'll be a lot of fun because we know a lot of people. We all kind of met each other through Tumblr, so we have other Tumblr friends that we kind of met through all this that will probably join in for some episodes and discussions. So it's there's so many things that we can talk about with this, which is what makes this so exciting for all of us.
Yeah. Also, I'll maybe mention it in later episodes, but for those of you who are not familiar, kind of South African slang makes me say hectic a lot, even when things aren't hectic. So just when I say that, just ignore it. We also say shame a lot. We say shame for everything. Like the most ridiculous thing. We'll say, "Oh, shame! Your pet is so cute. Oh, shame."
These aren't South African things. A lot of people say these.
I know, but like especially here.
Well, ever since I've been interacting more with British people and reading fan fiction, I've started using British slang. So I'm not even kidding. I am, and my parents have noticed it. Like my grandparents are from England, so my dad's kind of used to it. But some of the words I was using, he's like, "Why did you use that word?" And I was like, "Harry Potter." It's like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I just felt like I had to explain because, like, when I was talking to you, Erica, privately, you were like, "That's not really that hectic," and then I had to explain to you why I was saying hectic all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that happening. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I don't have any weird slangs, but I do use rubbish, I guess, sometimes.
That's a British
because of Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Because of Harry Potter. I feel like a lot of words like that. I'm pretty sure I learned the word flabbergasted from Harry Potter as well. Yeah.
That word, I cannot take that word seriously, even if people are using it in a serious way. I have to smirk when that happens. So yeah, our name is Expecto Podcastium. That was a fun one to come up with. That was Jess's idea, and we all kind of just fell in love with it. Oh, we should tell you guys our houses and our Patronus.
Yeah, so my Patronus is Saint Bernard, and I feel that's quite fitting because Saint Bernards are also known as kind of the nanny dogs, and that also fits me well because I am trained to be a preschool teacher, and I love kids so much.
Me too.
I love them tremendously, and I love being a caregiver. And I do have kind of like the energy of a dog sometimes. I get very excited when I see people that I love, and I'll be that like hyperactive kind of energy around people. And yeah, that's my Patronus. And while we're just saying small things about us, I also want to mention that I am a Hufflepuff.
My Patronus is a dapple gray stallion, and I am not an animal person. Like I don't hate animals or anything. I don't feel that strong connection to animals like I know other people do, and that's totally normal. But so I don't really know much about horses. What I do know is I looked up what a dapple gray stallion actually looks like, and it's a beautiful horse. Like it's actually so cool how it looks. So, do you guys know anything about horses? Does that fit me?
I mean, I'm not a horse girl, so I can't really say, but I do know that they're beautiful, and you're also beautiful, so that fits.
Honey, that's so sweet.
You're both adorable.
Thank you. I'm Hufflepuff though, so me and yeah, Hufflepuffs. I feel like I definitely fit in the avenue of Hufflepuff because I've always thought of Hufflepuffs as kind of like the misfits a little bit, and just kind of like a nurturing, motherly type. And I feel like I definitely have that quality at some points, and just I also think like I feel like I am like a Grifflepuff or something. Just because I definitely have personality traits from Gryffindor. Like I'm very outgoing and like I consider myself to be loyal and I have my brave moments. And so it's like, officially I'm Hufflepuff, but I feel like I definitely have traits from Gryffindor as well. So
Speaking of your Patronus, by the way, I looked it up, and apparently, well, horses in general are like very much strong and like loving, and then also I think the dapple gray has a huge thing of like protectiveness. So,
Oh.
I feel like that fits me. I'm definitely protective of people. Like I like for example, I was bullied a lot in like high school and whatnot. So I'm always one of those people where if I see someone being mean to another person, I will stand up for them, even if it's like for example, if I'm at work or something and I hear some people like talking meanly about another coworker, I'll be like, hey, can you guys not do that, please? Because it's not nice. And like they may look at me like, oh, what's this person doing? And I'm just like, oh, I don't care because I don't care about being cool. I want to be nice to people and find other people who are nice to people. Like I won't actually say that. This is like when I was younger, like when I used to work at like a clothing store where like a lot younger kids, not kids, but like teenagers worked there, and so there was a lot of that kind of talk there. But that's really sweet. I feel like I definitely fit that avenue.
yeah.
What about you, Megan?
For me, my Patronus is a chestnut mare, which, being me, I researched this a lot. I apparently chestnut mare indicates that I have a huge appetite for freedom and I love being adventurous, which totally fits with me. I love going on adventures. I love doing crazy things. My bucket list is to go skydiving. Now that I'm old enough to go skydiving. Um, and then also, chestnut mares are pretty passionate.
What
They're,
kind of animal is that?
huh?
It's a horse.
It's a
Yeah,
horse?
it's a horse. Yes,
A
a
mare is a
miracle
female
horse.
horse.
This just proves how much I don't know about animals right there.
Very nice job, Erica.
I was like looking it up. I was like, what is hair? I thought maybe you said hair. So it's like, is it a rabbit? I totally okay. This proves how much I don't know about animals right there. That gives you an idea.
It's kind of incredible. Yeah, I love horses. When I was younger, especially, I loved going horseback riding, and I always wanted my own horse, which I never got here. But I have a horse inside, according to my Patronus. So one of the reasons I researched this so much is because it's just who I am as a Ravenclaw. Um, looking into things, I love learning about things. I care very much for like the information side of things. But then, like the other two, like both Jess and Erica, I think I have a lot of Hufflepuff traits. You ask my friends, they'll say I'm loyal and like friendly, and I'm like maybe a teensy bit of a pushover, but like, you know.
I think what people may be surprised about me is that I am mainly Hufflepuff, but I do have a few Slytherin traits, so I would definitely be a Slytherpuff if we're combining houses.
We're all Hufflepuff, and we all have traits of like the other three houses. We're each.
Yeah, I think that works out really nicely, actually.
Yeah, that's why like I the thing with sorting is like there's in real life I don't think sorting would work very well because there's like so many different ways. Also, when I don't know about you, but when I was 11, I was fairly different than what I am when I was 17. So it's like you grow so much, but there's a lot of characters even in canon that like their houses are. It's always a controversial thing of just like they could be house, they could be that house, all these different things. Like there's a lot of people who say that Neville could be a Hufflepuff, and I totally agree with that. There's people who say that Ron is a Hufflepuff, and like I can see that, but I also think he has a lot more Gryffindor traits than Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Some people say that Ron should be a Slytherin as well because
I never understood that one.
Me neither.
Yeah. He's very logical and like plans things out, I guess, and is almost like that cool-headed, waiting to strike
He is such a hothead. Are you kidding me? Ron is not cool-headed. No, I didn't mean it in that way. Like, he is hot. But, like, I mean it more in a way of just, like, Ron gets, like, he has a temper.
Yeah, no, completely. I mean, we see it, like, so many times over and over in the books and the movies.
One thing about the Weasley temper, though, a lot of people are like, oh, the Weasleys get so angry, but it's like all the times that they have gotten every time that they have gotten angry, it has been like initiated by someone hurting them, or someone they love. So it's like they say something mean, like someone says something mean about someone they care about, they get angry. Like there's proof of that.
All out of protectiveness.
Yeah, protective. Their temper is rooted in protecting and caring about those they love. That's how I defend when people talk about the Weasley temper, because it's like that proves how loyal and how much they care and protect their others. That's one thing that I love about the Weasleys. Like, never understood. There's people who say like, oh, there's too much Weasley love, and I was like, literally, this story is about the Weasleys. It's that's the family it's about. Like, I know you said like, oh, I want to learn about other families. It's like, well, that's not what these books are about. So it's like, don't get mad at canon for not doing that, because it's like, it's not. There's like people like the Weasleys because there's so many of them in each. The thing about the Weasleys that I liked that J.K. Rowling wrote is she made each Weasley different. Like they definitely all have similar traits. Besides
even Fred and George?
Yeah, Fred and George have some differences. It's hard to find it, but when people who, I don't know their characters as well as other people do, but people who really love their characters are able to really go deep into it. But each of, like, at least the ones that we learn a lot about, even the ones that we don't know a lot about, but like the main ones that we know more about is like, obviously like Ron, Ginny, the twins, and like Bill we get a bit of, but Charlie is the one that we don't get much of. Just like we definitely get more of him from the books than the movies. Oh my god, that was the dumbest thing ever. Cutting out. Well, the thing is that makes it the worst is like they didn't cut him out. They just didn't ever cast him, because like I know he doesn't have a significant part of it, but they could have just casted someone and have them be there and have some of his lines and like, but she makes each of them stand out and have their own traits. So she doesn't just make them all the same. They each have their own traits that brings to their family dynamics and whatnot. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap up for this episode, our introduction episode. So we're really excited. I hope you guys like us and can follow and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. So yeah, next episode, we're going to be discussing the first 5 chapters of Philosopher's Stone / Sorcerer's Stone, for those of you who know it as that. I never understood why it has 2 different names or something.
I know.
Because America is the rebel.
Yeah, sorry, America.
It needs to be different from like Fahrenheit, even except Fahrenheit. I don't understand the concept of Fahrenheit. It makes no sense. Okay. Thanks, you guys, for listening. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
We'll see you. Bye. Mwah.